Guys, we're back on Facebook Live. It's just that we had a new webinar trying out and it didn't work very well. We had some difficulties for people to view the slides, listen to us. So we're just going to use the Facebook Live and bring people on this. You guys have any questions? Just write on the comments, and yeah, that's and then we can talk about Bitcoin and ICOs and crypto and China and the new split that happened with Bitcoin Cash. We had some questions before, so people were interested in asking about what's happening with China, and so China has managed to block the ICOs. It's just that they don't want anybody just coming up with new cryptos as and when they like. I understand Bitcoin is also supposedly a threat in the mining, but then there's also about the later part. For now, yes, the ICOs have been banned. That's the way the Chinese government want to take it forward. So I'm just messaging to all you guys on Meetup. We are on Facebook Live. I'm just going to message this to the others also on our In Crypto We Trust. You guys can see me and hear me, I guess. If you can, please do. If you can't, just let me know through the message on what's on Meetup, so that I can reconnect this and work this out. Meanwhile, I'm looking forward to some questions. Hi, Ashwin. I'm good, man. How are you doing, Ashwin? So I know this is like a one-way thing, and you can only hear me. I can read your comments here. If you have any questions, just write down your question here, Ashwin. It's been a long time. Yeah, just give me guys a second. I'm just going to post this on my Meetup because there are a lot of people are waiting on to connect with us on FB. So yeah. Oh, it's nice, dude. Me too, doing good. So wish this was like a two-way video, but I don't think it is. It's just we got this. You can only watch me and okay, really, Ashwin, you want to go by that basics? I can do that because I think we were planning to do a basic presentation here, but I think that that didn't work out very well. So yeah, I can do a presentation for you. So you know what, the basics of Bitcoin, if you say how it can be sustainable and things like that. The first of all, it's like, you know how internet and the post office combination is. So the post office was there before, and they were the only ones who would move our messages across. The amount of messages they could move is too little to today's world. If post office had to handle all the kind of volumes that we do through WhatsApp, through emails, through all that instant messaging, I don't think post office can ever cope with that. So we needed something like internet to cover that certain aspect, which is like the growth of the economy had to be sustained with the kind of communication that has to happen, and that is supported by the internet. So the internet now supports the value transfer. Why it has to support the value transfer? Because the existing government, I am sorry about that. Oh well, some governments in the like UK are equal to banks. So what I mean by that is these banks cannot sustain the kind of volumes that we're going to be doing in future in terms of value transfer. So the value transfer is going to move on to cryptocurrencies and on all the altcoins. So how that happens is because all these altcoins hold value, and these are determined by the demand and supply of the world. Because the demand and supply and understanding with the people, there is a certain value determined to these cryptocurrencies. This cryptocurrency moves on the internet instantly, without any third party, approval, like banks, central banks, governments, those kind of things. So it makes the future more easier for people to transfer value across the globe, which is very much in need now already. So it's like how when the internet came up, we thought, oh, internet is just another fancy thing, but do we really need it? Yes, we do. That we can see today. Internet first built the information transfers simply just like emails, and we have today what we call as VoIP, and that's what we are doing, voice over internet protocol, and the video that we're doing today. It's all possible because of the internet, and the future is going to be value transfer. So the value transfer starts with cryptos, and Bitcoin set the base. The base means there was the first one to show how a value can be determined over the internet without any centralized authority. So it goes through the decentralized system. What it means is the people who use Bitcoin and the blockchain and the crypto control the usage of this, and any kind of changes on that. That means it's a democratic currency. The people who are using, if they agree and come to consensus on some kind of changes, we can do the changes on the Bitcoin protocol. So all these other cryptos are just kind of following what Bitcoin has shown. Bitcoin being the pioneer, it did certain protocols in its white paper and its algorithm, and the new cryptos are trying to come up with similar or say a little bit enhancements to what is set by the Bitcoin protocol. So the new enhancements is like Ethereum is one of them. What does Ethereum do? You can write smart contracts on it. Bitcoin blockchain also does timestamping to make sure these smart contracts are secure. But you cannot really now embed smart contracts on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is purely used as a currency, as a value transfer, as an asset, as a trading tool. You can name it another. It's there. So what Ethereum does is Ethereum does all of this, and it also does smart contracts. So you can write and embed these contracts and timestamp them on the Ethereum protocol. So of course, Bitcoin is the pioneer in that. So there are some basics that we do have about Bitcoin. So what does that mean? As Bitcoin used like money, when we say value transfer, that means you hold X amount of money, you're trying to send that to somebody abroad. Today's world, we use banks to transfer that through existing financial system. It's sluggish, it takes its own time, it's got a lot of fees. With cryptocurrency, these things are instant. And the beauty of cryptocurrency is that you can do it in small volumes, right? So if you want to send just like $5 to somebody, you don't have to pay hefty fees on those. You pick up an altcoin which is accepted by your friend across, and then equivalent to a $5 value, send him the crypto, and those fees are like very minimal. The best and the most exciting part of this, it's instant. That's the beauty of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. We need something value transferred in today's world instantly. We don't want to fucking wait. I'm sorry about my language, but it's just those which nobody seems to understand, that those things are very essential, that we need value transfer to be done instantly. Well, the banks do offer, the existing system do offer instant services, but these instant services are limited to some regions of the world, a few people in the world, and those kind of things. Those limitations make this world like a two-tier system, which we don't want. We want an open system for everybody. That's what crypto and Bitcoins bring in. In terms of how sustainable it is, the future is bright. The future is going to be very sustainable. Few altcoins are already trying out how we can do, in terms of, say, without any kind of like resources being used, kind of like cryptocurrency. I understand that Bitcoin uses quite a bit of resources. Those resources are there in terms of mining and the amount of electricity used, to make sure the backbone of Bitcoin is strong and nobody just trying to infiltrate the crypto and bring it down. For that reason, the amount of hardware that is there and the resources that goes through to make sure the Bitcoin protocol and the network is secure is very much needed. But the Others are always trying, like proof of stake is those kind of things are the new things that's been tried out by a lot of people to see if another kind of crypto is very much sustainable for the future. In terms of other points like how Bitcoin is superior, say Bitcoin is here to last for another 130 years. No notes of any government that has been printed last that long. And what are the positives of that is that it's durable. Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are like digitally held on the phones and on your apps. They can be sent and received instantly. So nothing that's like getting degraded. So it's very much durable. It's going to last forever. There is something about being fungible that in today's world is very useful. When you say fungible, that means any two cryptocurrencies of the same idea, like this Bitcoin or Litecoin, is exactly the same. But if you take two pieces of gold, which is 18 karat, depending on which country it comes from, there are two different ones. They might not want to merge. Like gold that comes out of Dubai and gold that comes out of Switzerland are two different, and India. So yes, we do have Bitcoin as like an advantageous value transfer. Well, let's take more questions. Ashwin's got some more questions to say. So Bitcoin would be available with local banks to use for transfer facility. Well, let's start with that first part of the question, Ashwin. Bitcoin will be available for us to use. They might not be available through the banks. They are available through simply on our phones with apps. These apps are many. You can just download. There are many developers who build apps. When you say local banks themselves will use the Bitcoin protocol and cryptocurrency protocol at the back end to make it look like they're doing a better job to the people, but actually they would be using Bitcoin in the future. So if you don't have to use the third party to go to, and then they use Bitcoin for you to do value transfer. With Bitcoin and crypto, you can do it yourself. So banks are going to be redundant. I'm not saying banks are not doing any job that they have to be shutting down. They don't have to. They kind of like continue doing and supporting the ones that are already existing and using the banks. Crypto is for the new world. Crypto is for the new generation. It's a set of new people who are going to be out there and then want to use value transfer without being on the banking ladder. It's for the youngsters. It's for the ones who are just passing out. And how does it affect by the fluctuating exchange rates? Now, Ashwin, that's a very good question. So fluctuating exchange rates, it happens because of the less in adoption that is happening today in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is adopted by very few people. So it's a small bucket of water compared to the ocean that is like dollars. If there is a stone thrown in the bucket of water, there's a bigger splash. So the fluctuation is a little bit bigger. If you see, dollars also has fluctuation, even though it has been used by almost the whole world. Even though if you don't use it, they will just push it down your throat, and they might even kill you, like how Saddam and Gaddafi got killed. So even after all that, dollar still has volatility and fluctuation. So when it has a little bit of fluctuation, Bitcoin will take some time for it to settle down. So right now the adoption is less, so the fluctuation is more. But mind it, this fluctuation or the price change in Bitcoin does not affect the value transfer. What I mean by that is, if I'm sending you $100 worth of Bitcoin, that $100 I'll change it to Bitcoin and send it to you, and you change it back to $100 on wherever you are, equivalent to that in your local currency. All this happened instantly. If you want, it will happen in nanoseconds through cryptocurrencies, if not Bitcoin. So when the value transfer happens instantly, there is no fluctuation that plays any role in that. So whatever that amount of cryptocurrency is changed to $100 worth of crypto or 100,000 worth of rupees is moved instantly, and it reaches you instantly, and it changes instantly. So there is no value lost. So that way, Bitcoin is like a more superior one. Forever, it's going to be like the cryptocurrencies world. No more of these existing slow system. Does that work like the regular currency itself? Yes, it's very superior. Regular currency is very centralized and very monopoly oriented. The regular currency is like a monopoly game. You want to get out of that game. What it means is, if you're playing a monopoly board and if somebody's cheating on the monopoly board and picking up more notes from the bank, if you make him a banker, we cannot really tell. But with cryptocurrencies, all these things can be stopped. Right now, that kind of monopoly game is being played by the federal bank in the US. What do is they add up a lot of trillions on their balance sheet and then devalue their currency so high. And even the Chinese learn from it, and they're doing it. Everybody's going to do it. Like these corrupt bankers and the people on the top are like so scum. So we just need this Bitcoin because of that. So I get a little excited sometimes about this, but I'm sure it's all good. So yeah, we got more questions that's coming up. Great initiative. Thanks, man. Thanks, Bharat. Just waking up to the powerful digital currencies. Soon India will be one of the top currencies using Bitcoin. Well, Bharat, I think you're 100% right. It's going to be India which is going to use cryptocurrency in future more than the Western countries, because Western countries already have their system set in place, which is their banking structure. What do they do with that? They don't allow innovation to happen. So that means anything like Bitcoin, they want to control. They don't want to allow people to do it. It is a very classic example that we can already see in New York. If you are trying to start any kind of business with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, you're highly regulated, and you have to go through all this shit that New York is trying to push it down your throat. If you see same thing with the remaining 49 states in the US are more happily, trying out new things. Similar fashion, being US and the Western countries too ahead, and then too much of people already on the banking, they will be the last people to adopt to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has already been adopted in places like Africa and Asia and India, underdeveloped and developing nations, because it's a useful tool for them. So that way, yes, Bharat, you're 100% right. About Lakshmi Coin, Himanshu, so we got a question here about Lakshmi Coin. It is something that I've just heard from the Indian news that they're going to be using a Lakshmi Coin as the crypto. There was one guy before who tried to make a Lakshmi Coin, but that was a centralized one. He just had an idea, but it didn't work that well. Now the Indian government wants to get in it. I think it's a very good news, because if you don't test and try today, we will not know how it's going to be tomorrow. So I think Indian government, the first and the foremost thing Indian government said was they're going to wait and watch Bitcoin. I'm like, these guys are genius. They just at least allowed and not speculated about closing down and being illegal and all these stupid things that all the other Western countries are trying to do, or the Chinese government is trying to do. I'm glad the Indian government did a sensible thing, wait and watch. And if they want to try something like a new crypto, might as well, because the more tests that we do, the better we're going to get. We already do a lot of things. We sent fucking cheaper, satellites to Mars and to space. A lot of countries are depending on that. So let the other countries depend on us and our innovation in terms of using crypto. So we got some questions on faucets. For faucets, I cannot answer your questions right now here. You have to do your own research. 99% of these faucets and people are like trying to scam you. If they're trying to give you free Bitcoins for nothing, that means you just have to be worried about it. If somebody asks you for your Bitcoin and then say that we're going to give you interest and then give you back your Bitcoins with profit and all that, again, be worried about that. Nobody's just going to double your Bitcoins for nothing. Initially, they might just give you some dividends, and then they might swallow your remaining Bitcoins very soon. Yeah, in terms of, there are some websites where you can call them faucets. What do? They take your time and make you do a little bit of work. Once you do that part of the work for them, they will provide you with some free Bitcoins, very few Satoshis or some other altcoins. Those things will be very useful for you to get on cryptocurrency bandwagon and then try and see how these cryptos feel with you and work with you. Just give me a second, guys. I think we need to extend our time with this, so that because I have a lot of people coming in, I'd like to extend. Sir, can you extend this time for another half an hour? Okay. So I had to be out of my comfort zone today. So, I came on outside to get my internet connected because I'm already outside. I had some work outside, and the Bangalore traffic is so crazy that you don't want to test trying to get in place in time. So I wanted to do this online hangout outside. So I'm trying to get more time out of this guy. So yeah, and any more questions, guys, just go ahead and write this question. If you have specific things to understand about crypto, write it here. And especially a lot of people who have done their research and they want to know a little bit more you can write them here. I'll just read out these and then answer your questions. I've been trading for a while with other altcoins. I would like to know how the altcoins dip and other things work. So your altcoins are also fluctuating, right? So your altcoins fluctuate more than Bitcoin for today's world because the altcoins are very new. Bitcoin has been there for some time, and the adoption is also very little. So with altcoins, when somebody is launching a new altcoin and trying to show you that this is very different to the cryptocurrencies existing set of them, and they show you it's got some advantages things. What you have to watch for is, are they pre-mined? Means are the owner who's releasing the altcoins, is he going to have some coins for himself and then going to give you a few? Just watch that, because a lot of people scam you with pre-mined coins. A lot of altcoins come as a scam that they are centralized. You should be worried about the centralized ones. Try and opt for the decentralized cryptocurrencies, because when it's decentralized, a group of people or the developers and the users are all together, have a say in that crypto. You don't want to try centralized ones. The Ripple and Stellar are like a crap currencies. I don't know how they become so popular. Probably with time, if they're trying to show that they are not going to use that value for other things, we might depend on them a little bit, but they are centralized. Mind you, any cryptocurrency you want to follow has to be something like this. Basic things you have to follow is it has to be on GitHub to know that it's got an open source technology. Its source code is viewable, and you are able to understand the codes. Then the second point is making sure that it's not pre-mined. Third point, you're making sure that it is not centralized. That's like the most important thing. It has to be decentralized. Decentralized means it's democratic currency. India is decentralized. We are democratic. No other country that easily gives the democracy, right? So what is democracy? Is like it's by the people, for the people. That's what Bitcoin is also. And the new currencies that's coming up, altcoins, you have to look for those kind of features. So yeah, thanks, Ashwin. That I'm glad that you liked it. Your cryptocurrency starts with C, just FYI. And what do you mean by okay? So I get your point. You want to know if Bitcoin is an investment? Yes, Bitcoin is an investment. It's an asset class. It's got multi-layer uses for it. One of them is definitely an asset class. So when you say investment, you can do it for a long-term investment. When you want Bitcoin to hold its value and you get good returns, think about a long-term investment. Don't look at selling Bitcoin very quickly, unless you understand or you've seen the history of the Bitcoin fluctuation. It does fluctuate in a similar fashion. Whenever the price has to whenever the adoption suddenly increases, the price increases. So in the past also it has happened that it has jumped to $30 and back to $1. It had jumped to $266, and then it came back to like 60. From 266 around that time it played around, and then it went to 1,200. Now it has touched close to $5,000. That's a lot of money, because it's close to 3.5 lakhs in Indian rupees it touched. So when that happens, you have to understand that it touches a high price and then it comes down and it fluctuates and hovers around in the middle price. It does touch the base price of its, which is $1,200 to $1,500. Why that's the base price is because that's the previous high. So it does come down till then. It's going to take a little while. About 4 to 5 years is what, if you think as a long-term investment. A lot of people do a short-term trading and a lot of things. You have to do your own research to do those things. Okay, trading and asset class is two different things. A lot of people understand as traders. They know what trends it changes and it fluctuates, and if they're going to be day traders or long-term traders, they do their own research. But if it's an asset class, you can hold this as an asset, like how we hold a lot of other things, shares, bonds, precious metals, paintings and arts. These are held as assets by a lot of people, and Bitcoin is also one of those. In terms of why the price shoots up, is my answer to that was earlier, like how the adoption happens. Like how last adoption was, everybody was loving Bitcoin because they realized, okay, it's a great value transfer. So it jumped a decent amount of price, like $1,200. So that adoption had just increased, so it caught on to this price accordingly. So now what has happened is everybody understands Bitcoin and blockchain, which has been the pioneer in the crypto space, has shown that this is going to be the future. So a lot of altcoins came in. So the technology understanding began, and then it exploded. Everybody wanted to hire blockchain developers. So what happened there was the adoption suddenly increased. A lot of people came to know about Bitcoin and blockchain and crypto. So the price has again corrected itself to the number of people who love Bitcoin, which is so 5,000. A lot of people just came into it, like Jamie Dimon from JP Morgan Chase. Those kind of guys, they came here is because they know they're already been, sidelined by cryptos. So all of these is a factor to the price and volatility and the fluctuation and the price catching up all of a sudden. It's just the trend. If you have to follow Bitcoin for a longer time, you will see it's the same kind of trend, and it will happen for like at least another few more years, and then it'll settle down a little bit better than before. So is it good idea to invest in altcoins? Yes, it is, if you can understand the way the fluctuation happens and what crypto or what new altcoins has better technology and better features. Yes, they might catch on very well, so you might be able to profit. But don't take my word blindly for it. But you just have to do your own research. Anything like trading and trying to make an investment in new altcoins, you have to watch yourself, because a lot of altcoins have been there for a long time, still don't hold value. A lot of them come in new, suddenly holds a lot of value, means they are going to drop. So do your research before get on to altcoins. Otherwise, there's always a safe bet, which is Bitcoin. But again, don't think about Bitcoin as a short term. If you're thinking long term, only then go into it, and only try and use the amount of money that you don't want to worry about too much. Don't put all your money in. In terms of a lot of altcoins and cryptos do shoot up because of the way the developers and its community bring it out. If they bring out the best points of it, yes, of course, it's going to be really good. And then it catches on a little good price in the beginning, but eventually over the period of time is how it'll correct itself. Later withdraw and put some in other altcoins. What do you think? Okay, so Lakshmi Coin is also something we've been talking about. Once the Indian government comes out with it, we will only know then what are they trying to do. Is they're trying to do a centralized currency, or they're going to allow a decentralized currency to be played by the people, or are they going to pre-mine it and then hold it by the government and then let part of it to be used by us, or whole part of it? We all have to wait and watch. What are the real features they're going to have? I'm hoping if Lakshmi Coin comes up with some embedding tools like how Ethereum does for contracts and smart contracts and time stamping, we can do a lot of things with that if Indian government really wants to put their minds in it. Something like IP would be one of the key things. Intellectual property, today's world, intellectual property is something which is very hard for commoners to get onto. But with any kind of crypto doing a nice time stamping, eventually all these people can get onto that crypto and then just spend. The latest I think we can spend is those. It's like some 2 rupees or something for one intellectual property registration on a crypto. So if it's that low, everybody in the world can actually get onto IP bandwagon. So when taking a decision on ICO, what points to consider for a layman, assuming that he does not understand white paper? So you have to understand white paper to start with. What do you mean by white paper? White paper is just the basics of what an ICO is going to be, or what is this product that is going to be launched on ICO. So this product is a cryptocurrency. What is it made out of? It's made out of few of the features, like how Bitcoin came out. It has to be open source. It has to be decentralized. It has to be not pre-mined. It has to be fungible and those kind of things. Fungible, most of the cryptocurrencies already are. So the white paper is to explain you the idea of what developers have for this cryptocurrency. When you read about that is when you can take a decision on that crypto. And in terms of being that crypto on the ICO, ICO is just a initial coin offering like your IPOs. IPO is initial public offering. So initial public offering is by those companies which do well. Now these companies want to scale. And when they want to scale, they want to prove to the people saying that, and show their history to the people saying that This is the last 3 years or 5 years that we've been in the industry. We've done so well. We put in so much money, we got out so much money, we've scaled already to this level. Now we want to scale it to a much national level or international level. We want more funding, and they would do an IPO and get funds from the people to support their company and make it bigger. Now this ICO is similar. Now ICO is similar in a Bitcoin, in a crypto currency fashion. A cryptocurrency comes out into the market. They do a little bit of standalone work by themselves. Most of them don't even do that. They just come and throw an ICO. When they throw an ICO, the only white paper is their helpline to show that what they're good at, and some developers and community will be built, and then depends on how long that community is better it is for the ICO. If it's a short-lived currency and a short-lived idea, just don't spend too much money on it. So one of the reasons why ICO was banned in China was because of this, because anybody and everybody is just coming onto it and then trying to think that they're going to make money. And this is like a quantitative easing for the people. Everybody just thinks like, oh, they can just come and do an ICO and they can become a millionaire. That's what is happening, and that's what they're doing right now. So just watch what you're getting into. Try and do some of research and try and follow Bitcoin's protocols. That's if Bitcoin's made it this big till now, it's got its serious backing in terms of its technology and its the ways of it going to work. Similarly, if you have another cryptocurrency with all these kind of promises, then yes, they will become bigger in the future. So your ICO will work out well. So yeah, Ashwin, I'm glad you're able to make use of this platform. I've been doing meetups very regularly since 5 years now, and 2012. Wow, it's 5 years. It's a long time. It's not very regularly done in this year. I've been doing it since once in 2 months. So initially we had our own platform to launch our meetup, but it didn't go very well. So we did it on Facebook Live. Actually, that platform also going to post this video on Facebook eventually. But yeah, it's as long as it's going well and we've got people getting information, that's all we wanted. Let me about this new innovative. Okay, it was a nice one, Ashwin. We'll catch up sometime soon. Tax on Bitcoin. Okay, somebody wants to know about how we can tax on Bitcoin. You buy a Bitcoin for 100 rupees. Your Bitcoin shoots up to 10,000. Say X amount of time. So your 9,900 is your extra that you get on your Bitcoin, right? So it's the same fashion how you would buy a share today. The share price might go 4 times or 5 times. If you are gaining a lot of money from your shares, you would pay the tax to your CA, telling that you bought the shares and it went up so much. Similarly, you can use Bitcoin also to be understood like that. You were you're buying Bitcoin for X amount, and when you liquidate that Bitcoin, you get more than what you paid for. You pay for that extra that you got. You pay your taxes accordingly. So just don't try and dodge those things. If you are making money, just share a bit, and then you will enjoy the rest of the money better. What will be the impact on China's policy on Bitcoin? China is a stupid country. We know that already. Everybody knows that. They like to control their own people to start with. They don't like to allow innovation, and they kill their smart people, which they did in 1987. So similarly, Bitcoin is just another, level of power that people are going to get. So China did allow that for a little while, but now they understand the depth of what this is going to bring. So what they're trying to do, they're trying to do some games. They banned ICOs, which I think is okay, but up to Bitcoin, they want to control Bitcoin so that people are not getting too powerful with this, and they have been sidelined because of the technology that they don't understand. Well, I guess you'll have to prompt me with more questions so that I can talk about it more. Okay, so any other platform rather than with ZPay, as they can take almost 25 to 30K. I don't understand what this question is about. ZPay is just one of the great platforms that we have. There are similar platforms what we have in India, like CoinX is one of them, which is very new. But somebody who's been there in the industry and serving the masses are like Unocoin, CoinSecure, of course, Zepe, like I said before. Uh, Please rewrite your question. I'm not able to understand exactly what your question is about. So segment 2x, is it happening, not happening? Really doesn't matter. It's again democratic, so we want to wait and watch how people are going to see if they are interested in it, or if a large community of Bitcoin wants to actually get onto it, they can. Like how we got Bitcoin Cash. That I think is the way how Bitcoin scales itself. Bitcoin by itself might not have scaled to please and to serve everyone who loves Bitcoin, but by bringing in Bitcoin Cash and more hard forks and soft forks in the future, and then splitting into more cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin is eventually going to be like a scaled product. And then what is scaling? Scaling is allowing people to do value transfer through their Bitcoin and through these block sizes. The block sizes are limited, but we have two set of block sizes today. We have Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. So eventually the point is met. We're going to do value transfer through Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. The value is transferred. We are eliminating the centralized authorities. We're doing smooth and instant transactions. We're doing small transactions. We're growing commerce in a faster pace. Internet allowed us to boom in terms of economy, because we could do information transfer instantly, because we're not depending on post office anymore. In the future, we will be depending on cryptos to do value transfer, because any business does not necessarily just finished with information transfer. Once you do information transfer and the products is sold, you have to do a value transfer. That's the reverse of any business. Like that's the two sides of the business. If you value transfer is quick, then your business is even faster than what it is today. Because today half of it is faster because your information goes quick, but your value is still depending on your credit cards, on your banks. They take their own sweet times. They take 45 days. They will do chargebacks. They will not give you half the times. They will just shut your account. They'll come and take money from your account. All this will be out of the window. Okay, if the price of Bitcoin is say 2.5 and Zeppelin shows 2.75, takes 20 as the use theirs. Okay, so I'm not able to understand really what your question is, but I can try and analyze a little bit. What you're trying to say is the Bitcoin price is 2.5 lakhs. Why Zepe is asking you to pay 2.75, or the Indian markets are asking you more to pay? Well, my friend, that is something which means it's demand and supply. If the demand and supply in India is different to the world, the price is going to be different. It's very much regional. If your price is 2.5 lakhs, that is not an Indian price. Don't go by that. That's an international price. Your Indian price is 2.75 lakhs. It has to be, because in India, there's more demand and the less exchanges are supplying Bitcoins. So the price has to shoot up within our Indian region. So today, Bitcoins don't just cross borders that easily. They do over the internet when you make small, transactions. But what I mean is, if Zepe wants another 100 Bitcoins for themselves, they cannot just go outside to the international market and bring that 100 Bitcoins. Because when they bring that 100 Bitcoins, how are they going to transfer that value of payment to that? So that's not going to happen. So every time there is a price surge like that, that means Indian market has a bigger demand. It's pure economics. It means demand and supply is corrections happening in India. I don't know if you have followed when Japan legalized Bitcoin in their country. What did Japan do? Japan said anybody can use Bitcoin in their country because they're smart enough. They just like the Americans are just like fucking controlling everything. They don't want their people to use their Bitcoin. Anyway, so Japanese did that. So Japanese said, go ahead and use your Bitcoin. Any exchange, any e-commerce or web store or your local store who are accepting Visa, MasterCard, and any of these will also have an option today to accept cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. That's what Japan did. When Japan did that, what happened in South Korea? Because South Korea follows Japan very closely in terms of technology, in terms of the developments and everything. So when South Korea saw the Japanese regulators allowed Bitcoin to be used, South Koreans, because they follow it so much, that suddenly every South Korean wanted to buy Bitcoin. What happens then? The local regional demand and supply changes. When that changed, the price of Bitcoin in South Korea was very high. It was running at a $600 premium. What that means is purely that the demand is so high in South Korea that there's not enough Bitcoins for them. So the price shoots up. So your ZPay price and Unocoin price and your CoinSecure price is not necessarily or will not be necessarily the same as your global price. So you have to understand that the pricing will be different. So you're talking about CEX.io taking 3.5% in transaction fees. Any other platform taking less? Or see, those things are all dependent on how the transactions, how the exchanges are working within themselves. If the exchange has got a lot of regulation, they will take fees from you and pay for that regulation or the taxes accordingly. If they have a better liquidity, the pricing will be less. There are a lot of factors to it. You have to do a little bit more research and check that out. What can you buy with Bitcoins? Rohit, you can buy everything with Bitcoins if those people who are supplying you that accept Bitcoin. I mean to say, if you are paying in Indian rupees, you get a lot of things from India. If you're paying in gold, your parents might give you something and you want to pay them in rupees or gold, they might, if they accept that, they will give you those things. Means to say that if you have a friend who will accept your cash and your gold, and if he's got X amount of things, he will give you. If you've got Bitcoins and people who accept Bitcoins, whatever they have, they will barter with you. So Bitcoin can buy everything today, depend on where you want to spend it. There are a lot of things I might have to tell you that the way it is not direct, some of it is like indirectly you can buy. Means an exchange, or I'm sorry, an e-commerce platform do not accept Bitcoins, but there will be a third party who will accept your Bitcoin and he will pay to that e-commerce on your behalf to that product that you wanted to buy, and you will eventually get your product. So that way you can still buy a lot of things with Bitcoin. There's some exchanges called Purse.io, which will take your Bitcoins and give you some products for even cheaper. How do they do that? Check it out on Purse.io. You will understand a little bit more. What else can you buy with Bitcoins? There are a lot of exclusive stuff today which are made for Bitcoins. You can buy them. What I mean by that is there are some people in this world who are building watches, clothes, shoes, gadgets. A lot of things are built and they are marketing and selling only for Bitcoin. Why are they doing that? Because they love Bitcoin so much that they like people who like their product come through to them and buy their product only with Bitcoin. By doing that, you will, as a novice, you will understand and use Bitcoin for the first time, and you will learn about Bitcoin. So they are trying to promote Bitcoin in that way. Some of them are also building these great products for Bitcoin only because they like Bitcoin so much that they want to sell it only for Bitcoin. That's just one side of it. Many people are also accepting Bitcoin alongside whatever they're accepting already, like Visa, MasterCard, bank transfer, wire transfer, cash on delivery. All that is existing. Along that, they will give you another option of Bitcoin or crypto. All these things are happening. One of the major, jeweler in New York suddenly started accepting Bitcoin. But of course, he was in New York, right? This isn't a bad place. New York regulators don't like Bitcoin because they love their control of their fiat money. So what they said to this guy, asshole, you cannot just start accepting Bitcoin. So if you're in New York, you have to be worried about this. But any other place, booming very well, and all good things happen outside the New York City now for crypto kids. So there are a lot of exchanges tying themselves up with the local markets, and then you're able to buy products for a little bit cheaper by using Bitcoin and things like that. Those things are happening. Anyway, guys, we only have a minute and a half. I'm going to end this meetup with that. So you have any more questions? Just put your questions across. I'll try and answer ASAP, and I'll try and get everybody's questions answered. Only in dark where people buy, it seems illegal. Well, Rohit, you should understand, internet is illegal, was illegal in 2000 and, not even 2000, I'm sorry, before in early 90s. Why? Because only the illegal things were happening on the internet. But is it the same now? No, it is not, because anything new, people who wants to use illegal things will use it first. Eventually, the great commerce will depend on it, like how internet is taking on biggest commerce of the world. Similarly, Bitcoin is also used by the bad elements in the beginning, but of course the good economy of Bitcoin has already overtaken the bad economy a long time ago. You're still you're very much a beginner. You should do a little bit more research. Dark web is not the only place Bitcoin has been used. Bitcoin is used in a lot of places. Do you understand the technology of blockchain? Blockchain is started because of Bitcoin, and that's like the base for any kind of new developments. That's going to be completely taking over the world in the future. So it's not illegal. So try and understand what is the real stand of Bitcoin. Yeah, well, I'm glad you enjoyed the conversation, and I'm glad everybody enjoyed the conversation and got their queries answered. I'm looking forward to coming back soon, and then having another chat and then answer more questions. Yeah, well, I guess thank you very much so far, and let's end this conversation, end this meetup here, and the live telecast. Thanks a lot, guys. You guys have a nice evening and a nice weekend. We'll catch up sometime soon. Bitcoin it is.